Over the last couple of weeks, we have been studying what Ripple is doing with a lot of these acquisitions. We've been talking about the big plan behind all of this. We've addressed recently the $1 billion buy of XRP that Ripple was putting together, which we also said, hey, this is going to lead to Ripple doing something pretty big with XRP. They have big plans with XRP. Now, we know exactly what their plans are. We're going to talk about it. We're going to address this. We are also going to go over a few things, including, of course, tokenization, institutional DeFi, and just pretty much everything in between. So let's first start off this video with this post here from X Finance Bull. And this is regarding XRP breaking into the top 10 around RWAs. Now, I'm pretty sure that XRP has been in the top 10 for quite some time. However, the G Treasury acquisition is definitely a big one because we know that this is going to bring trillions of dollars in tokenized assets, which is going to be coming from Fortune 500 giants. This is going to be very bullish. Now, is it going to happen overnight? No. But I do think that we could be seeing at least $1 trillion in terms of RWAs in general, not just on the XRP ledger, but in general within the next 12 months. I know that that's very bullish to say, but I really do think that regulations are catching up now. And all it really takes is the Clarity Act to get passed through in order to have tokenization scale significantly. We'll have to see what happens, but I'm very bullish on the outlook around tokenization in general, especially when it comes back to a lot of these great networks like the XRP ledger. Now, talking about the XRP ledger and talking about tokenization, we are at $365 million in terms of tokenized value. Stablecoins also sitting around like 281 million. But look at that 30-day transfer volume. I mean, it's crazy to see that 77% gain almost on RWAs in the last 30 days. Also, almost 74% on stablecoins. Both of these hitting well over $300 to $500+ million, which is very bullish to see. We're also starting to see some gains across the board here around tokenized assets. The biggest one right now in the last 30 days is from Ondo with OUSG. This is a US Treasury that's tokenized on chain. So again, love to see it. But yeah, I mean, listen, there's been a lot of growth within the tokenization side of this market. We just surpassed over $21+ billion. Let me just sign in real quick so that I can get this off my screen. So when we are looking at this, right, $21+ billion is now tied back to public networks in the space. And the craziest part about this is we're now witnessing over $100+ billion being transacted every single month now behind RWAs. And it's crazy to also see stablecoins nearing $4 trillion in one single month as well. I mean, the growth across the board, the amount of volume and value moving over these networks is extremely significant. Now, you might be asking, well, all right, well, all this value, all this stuff moving over these networks, yet, we're still seeing prices drop. I want you guys to understand that we're still talking about $100 billion plus networks in this space. Like the XRP ledger is valued at over $100+ billion. So when we are thinking about the XRP ledger and the value that's moving over it right now, this is not going to affect the value of XRP at all in a significant way anytime soon. We need to see, billions on top of billions of dollars moving over the XRP ledger, not in a 30-day time period, but in a day-to-day time period. So it's going to take a little bit of time to get to that point, but I'm very optimistic about it. Like I've said, I've talked about it on multiple occasions on exactly why we will witness, the XRP ledger being valued at trillions of dollars. We're starting to see adoption really heating up. And we're also starting to see Ripple making some very significant moves, like, for example, the acquisitions, but also what recently just got announced, which we'll talk about here in a second. Well, let's also go over here, which was back in September. We did see an announcement from Ripple. And this is what really started to open up the door into what Ripple was planning with XRP and the XRPL. So we already knew at this point that Ripple has been talking about institutional DeFi on the XRP ledger for quite some time, since going all the way back to like 2024. And then they unveiled their next phase, which included, compliance tools and an upcoming native lending protocol, which is still set to go live. But we know institutional DeFi is going to be huge. It's going to be huge not just for crypto, not just for XRP and the XRPL, but also for this entire space and also TradFi as well. I'm very excited about institutional DeFi on the XRP Ledger because we already know that the XRP Ledger was one of the first networks in the space to have tokenization and a built-in DEX tied to it. So I do think that it's going to be very efficient for these types of use cases. Now, on top of that, we recently just talked about the institutional DeFi portal, which, yes, Ripple did have, on their website, and they have it on their website even right now. It's still in development, but we just talked about it recently on how Ripple is ensuring that institutional players are going to flood onto the XRP Ledger. I really do think that we're about to witness an institutional flood hit the XRP Ledger. And I think that it really goes back to some of these recent acquisitions and moves that Ripple is making. Now, when we think about that, let's talk about it. So we know that Ripple was leading this $1 billion fundraise to bulk up XRP holdings amid fragile markets. So everyone was looking at this and they were saying, well, what's happening here? What's going on here? This has to be a part of some other big plan. Because again, this was a digital asset treasury, essentially. It was $1 billion and Ripple was tapped in on this for, a huge plan. I talked about it. There has to be something bigger to this than Ripple just buying up $1 billion worth of XRP. It's also bigger than a treasury, right? This is also happening at the same exact time that Ripple was spending $1 billion acquiring G Treasury, which also made us think like, all right, well, what's going on here? There has to be something more to this. Well, we just got the more to this. Here we have it. This is from Ashish Birla, CEO at Evernorth. I'm proud to share that we have launched Evernorth XRP, the first of its kind institutional vehicle built to accelerate XRP adoption with over a decade of uptime and a rapidly growing DeFi ecosystem. XRP is well positioned for adoption, and Evernorth is built to meet that moment. This is wild. Evernorth to go public with over $1 billion worth of gross proceeds. Brad Garlinghouse said Ashish and team are building something special with Evernorth XRP. We are proud to partner with him and proud to join an incredible set of investors, including SBI Holdings, Pantera Capital, Kraken, GSR, and RippleWorks to support Evernorth as it participates in institutional lending, liquidity provisioning, and DeFi yield opportunities for XRP. Guys, institutional DeFi. It's happening. It's finally here. We have been talking about it. We have been focused on it for quite some time. This is extremely exciting. Now, on top of that, David Schwartz, he recently left Ripple as the CTO, right? XRP community, I promised I'd have an update on my next adventure soon, right? Well, here's the start. I'll be a strategic advisor to Evernorth XRP, helmed by my friend Ashish Birla. Evernorth was founded as a regulated, scalable investment vehicle to tap into opportunities for XRP in DeFi and capital markets, extending the entire XRP ecosystem. I'm excited to get started. This is very exciting. And here we have the announcement from Evernorth. Big news, we are going public. We've entered into a business combination agreement with Armada Acquisition Corp. 2, a transaction expected to raise over $1 billion, creating the largest public XRP treasury company on the NASDAQ under XRPN. Now, we're going to tap into the official announcement as well, but let's go over here to this post from vet_x0. He said, this is insane. Over $1 billion collected by Evernorth, contributed by SBI, Ripple, and other partners to advance the XRP ecosystem. XRP Ledger network infrastructure, DeFi on the XRP Ledger, capturing yield and providing liquidity. Can't believe my eyes, folks, because again, this is one of the most bullish announcements around XRP yet. Here we have the announcement itself. There's a lot of great information within this that we're going to go over, but let's first start off with just the starting point here. Enable XRP adoption on an institutional scale. That's the full focus initially. Again, we already knew that Ripple was tapped in on institutional grade adoption for the XRP ledger for well over a year now. And then we got the institutional DeFi portal, which also is accelerating institutional adoption around the XRP ledger. This just adds so much more to that. The transaction is expected to raise over $1 billion in gross proceeds, including $200 million from SBI and additional investments from RippleWorks. And then also it's going to have Chris Larsen adding $50 million. We already know that. Net proceeds will primarily fund open market purchases of XRP to build the world's leading institutional XRP treasury, with a portion allocated to working capital, general corporate purposes, and transaction expenses. Evernorth, a first-of-its-kind treasury vehicle. It's designed to provide investors with simple, liquid, and transparent exposure to XRP through a publicly listed vehicle. Unlike a passive ETF, Evernorth seeks to grow XRP per share over time by participating in institutional lending, liquidity provisioning, and DeFi yield opportunities. XRP presents a compelling opportunity as one of the few digital assets with a recognized regulatory framework in the US and a proven use case in powering global payments. With over a decade of uptime, deep liquidity, and a growing DeFi ecosystem, XRP is uniquely positioned for growth and broader institutional adoption. Evernorth's model is built to harness this moment, offering investors not only exposure to XRP's price, but also the upside of active treasury growth and ecosystem participation. We also have down here that Evernorth is built to provide investors more than just exposure to XRP's price. As we capitalize on existing TradFi yield generation strategies and deploy into DeFi yield opportunities, we also contribute to the growth and maturity of that ecosystem. This approach is designed to generate returns for shareholders while supporting XRP's utility and adoption. It's a symbiotic model. Our strategy is designed to align with the growth of the XRP ecosystem. I am so excited about this. I think that this is simply one of the most bullish things for the XRP ledger that we've seen in years. Ripple has long championed XRP for its utility as a global asset for the efficient settlement of payments around the world. Evernorth is deeply aligned with that mission, bringing more use cases, participation, and confidence to the XRP ecosystem. Having worked alongside Ashish for many years, I'm fully confident in his and his team's ability to take XRP's presence in capital markets to the next level with Evernorth. Guys, I think that this is going to be so damn bullish for XRP. Validator participation in network security operating XRP validators to strengthen the resilience and decentralization of the ledger. DeFi integration, leveraging Ripple's RLUSD stablecoin as an on-ramp into XRP-based decentralized finance, enabling yield opportunities and broader adoption of XRP's collateral. Market development, providing liquidity and participating in projects that expand XRP's real-world utility across payments, capital markets, and tokenized assets. Evernorth's strategy is designed not only to accumulate XRP as a reserve asset, but also to act as a long-term catalyst for the adoption and institutionalization of the XRP ledger. Guys, if you needed to see something, some significant announcement that was going to give you that confidence that XRP is going to be much more valuable, this is it. This is it, because we are about to witness an institutional flood into XRP and the XRP ledger. We are going to see a massive amount of money flow into the XRP ledger, on top of the fact that we are going to see $1 billion worth of XRP bought up as well. This announcement is also a clear confirmation of just how bullish Ripple is on XRP and the XRPL. I want you all to understand that this is not just your typical announcement. This is a game changer. This is going to change the game around DeFi on the XRP ledger. It's going to change the game around institutionalization of the XRP ledger. It's also going to put XRP on the map front and center around the capital market side of TradFi. I am extremely hyped up about this. I think that this is extremely bullish, and we are just, making a list at this point of just how many huge announcements we can see in one single year regarding XRP and the XRPL. I mean, guys, this year has been so damn bullish. It's so hard not to look at this and come to the realization that XRP, we're about to see the entire ecosystem scale rapidly. I'm very excited about this. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video.